Alright, hey y'all, welcome back. I'm actually very excited to be doing this video today, so this is a tag video. I don't even have my table of stuff in front of me. I'm wearing no makeup. I just have skincare on from earlier today. I'm not going to be doing a look while doing this. I love tag videos because they're easy to film. I can just sit here and talk about stuff. Also, I did buy this ridiculous gamer chair recently. It's a Cyberpunk branded Secret Lab Titan chair. I love it, so for videos going forward, I will probably be sitting in this ridiculous Secret Labs chair, so deal with it. I'm a huge video game nerd. I've probably talked about video games a little bit here and there in some of my videos before, but we're not talking about video games today. We are talking about the Makeup Lookbook Tag. I stumbled upon this yesterday because I've been deep diving into Kat from Beauty News Official. I've been watching her makeup videos recently. Beauty News Official, if you don't know, they have a YouTube channel. They're based in Australia. I started following their Instagram because they're kind of like Trend Mood. You know, like Trend Mood is kind of the Instagram that everybody goes to find the newest makeup releases, you know, the newest stuff that's coming out. But for one reason or another, I just ended up following Beauty News Official instead because they pretty much do the exact same thing on their Instagram. They post new stuff that's coming out, all the details of what's coming out. The comment section is usually kind of a riot on there. But what I didn't realize is that they actually have their own YouTube channel. It's Kat and Haley, and they are two Australian YouTubers, and they have, I think they got famous for their series called Makeup Breakup, but I actually have not watched any of their makeup breakup videos. I think with those, they do stuff like they like tear up palettes, they pump out foundations to see exactly how many pumps come out. It's just stuff like that, kind of cool scientific stuff. But what they also do are sort of hour-long episodes where they recap X amount of releases over the course of like a month or however long the gaps go. So it's almost like a podcast, which I think is very cool. And they're also just hilarious women. They're very funny, unapologetic. They're just very real and upfront about the way that they feel about makeup and certain things. And I really like both of them. But Kat, I've been diving into her channel and I saw this video yesterday. But the video was not created by Kat. It was created by another Australian YouTuber named Melissa Gold, and I actually was not familiar with her at all, so I went back and I watched her eyeshadow tag video today as well. And I really just fell in love with this video concept because it's called the eyeshadow lookbook tag, or the makeup lookbook tag maybe, but I'm sort of centering this on the idea of eyeshadow because that's the prominent part of my looks when I do makeup. And it's just like 10 questions. It's a handful of questions that are basically kind of let you show off your portfolio of looks, which is something that really spoke to me because for every look that I film on YouTube, I probably do like 10 other looks, and I always photograph them with the camera that I'm filming on now. I photograph them under my studio lighting. I sometimes post them on Instagram. I'm in some Facebook groups that I post them on. I'll post them on other social media sites and stuff like that. If you go to my Instagram, I've got a highlights and the little corner of my profile for makeup, and it's basically every time I make a makeup story or a makeup post, I'll put it in there. So this is like the perfect opportunity to take some looks that maybe I love, that I don't love, that will fit the criteria of the questions that are asked, and I can just like throw some pictures on the screen, kind of talk about the looks a little bit. And it was actually a really interesting video to get into Melissa's channel because I was totally unfamiliar with her, and it's the perfect video because it's like, hey, here's who I am, here's a bunch of looks I've done for different questions, and it kind of gives you a pretty cool idea of like the kind of makeup that that person likes to do, some looks that they love, maybe some looks that they don't like, some, you know, expensive looks, some cheap looks. So it's just a very cool sort of like portfolio opening video to watch from someone's channel. So I was super on board because I photograph all my looks. I've been doing makeup on and off for probably like a few years now, so it was perfect. Chef's kiss. I love the video idea, and I'm gonna do this tag today. So I have my phone here. I've got Google Drive open with the pictures that I'm going to talk about because I'm going to be inserting them onto the screen, and then I've got a text document with the questions in it. So I might be looking at my phone a little bit here and there, but we're going to start with question number 1, which is a look with your favorite color. And I'm going to put a picture on the screen, and to be frank, this isn't like my favorite look I've ever done on the planet, but When it comes to makeup and to eyeshadow palettes specifically, purple is the color that I always zero in on. If there's a purple toned palette, even if it's like pretty neutral palette or maybe like a pinky palette with like one like solid purple, for some reason I'm always like, oh my god, I need that palette. It has like a beautiful purple in it. And then I think about it and I'm like, wait, I already have like a million purples in my collection. But for some reason, like a good deep purple, I'm not a lilac-y. I mean, I have some lilac palettes, but like a deep purple. The one that I'm showing on the screen is from Urban Decay, not Wired, Urban Decay Electric, which is the purple and that palette, which is one of the best purples I have in my collection. It's kind of like a graphic, kind of hard edge eye with an orange from the same palette underneath it. But purple is kind of like, if I had to just choose one color to do a look with, it would probably be purple. So this is kind of representative of my love of purple eyeshadow. And then the second question is, what is your favorite color combination? And if the first thing I look for in a palette is a purple, the second thing I look for is kind of like a deep magenta, like not so much a hot pink. I mean, I can get down with a hot pink, but I love pairing a purple and a pink, preferably kind of a rich purple and a rich pink together. So I have a few looks that I'm going to put on the screen. I think one of them is with the Pat McGrath La Vie en Rose palette, which they don't make anymore. I personally think that palette is a little bit overpriced and difficult to work with, but it does have a beautiful purple, a beautiful magenta, and it has a gold in there. And I talked about this in my eyeshadow palette collection video. That gold is like the end-all be-all of golds. And I know they don't make that palette anymore, but it's just a beautiful wet gold. But we're not talking about gold right now. We're talking about pink and purple. And I think I have a picture of the ColourPop, a look with the ColourPop It's My Pleasure palette. I have another one where it's kind of pink in the middle. It's a little more of a reddy pink, and then purple on the outside edge. If I had to choose, you know, perhaps like a go-to look, that would kind of be it. Like, if I'm ever feeling bored, I feel like purple is always a color that I can just go to, and I love mixing purple and pinks together. So these looks are pretty representative of that color combo that I love using. Okay, question number 3 is my go-to eye look, and to be completely frank, I don't wear eyeshadow like most of the time. Like, it's more common for me to not wear makeup than it is to wear makeup. So I don't really have, if I had a go-to like eye look, it would be probably just like mascara and maybe a nude liner in my waterline. But if I have to choose one, I know earlier I talked about purple kind of being like my go-to color, but I do have a distinct memory. I went to a concert probably in like January of 2020, and I used a ColourPop Super Shock shadow and the Urban Decay Electric palette to do this sort of like orangey pinky, almost like a duochrome eye look. And I just really liked this look. And the reason why I'm calling it my go-to look is because I actually recreated the look again. And it's pretty rare that I do looks more than once, because like I said, I'm not wearing eyeshadow like all the time. So I ended up wearing this, I think, to a Mardi Gras party or something like that a few months after I did it. And I just liked the look so much, and it was pretty easy. So I was like, yeah, I really, really like this look. I want to recreate it again. So I'm calling that my go-to look, because if somebody was like, hey, do you want to go to a Mardi Gras party? Like, I don't know when Mardi Gras happens. And I had everything in front of me. It's so easy to just slap on a Super Shock shadow. Usually I just take my ring finger, I dig it in the pan, I put it on, I blend it out. For these looks, I did use the electric palette to kind of throw a little bit of orange and pink in to blend it out a little bit more. I think I used a shade as like a top or lid shade on it. But I just really, really like this look so much that I did it twice. So I'm gonna call that kind of an easy go-to. I know it's a little avant-garde, but just kind of a go-to look if I need to do something and I have all these palettes and I don't know what to do. Just grab the Super Shock out of the drawer, blend it out, boom, go, you're good. Perfect. Now, questions 4 and questions 6, I'm gonna kind of put together for this one. So question 4 is a look that's outside of your comfort zone, and question 6 is a bridal look. And to be honest, when I do makeup looks, I do kind of big, colorful, I really like to go there with color, perhaps avant-garde maybe, but I really like to explore color. So the kind of embarrassing thing about my comfort zone with eyeshadow is neutrals and browns and neutral palettes, that's like, I know that's what everybody loves, and I understand it's wearable, it's, you know, work stuff, it's bridal, but I don't know, I feel like every brown look looks exactly the same, and it's hard to kind of differentiate brown looks. I know that's naive because you can do it in a million different ways, but when you have warm brown, cool brown, champagne gold, like, I don't know, I just think about neutrals and I just get really bored. I just want to fall asleep when I think about them. So I'm kind of mixing these two together because I feel like when I do neutral looks, they kind of are bridal looks, if that makes sense. So I have a couple looks that I think I'm going to put on the screen. Let me check my pictures to make sure I know what I'm talking about. These are both neutral looks, and I think I actually did both of them with the Lady Gaga House Labs Fame Room #1, Glam Room, whatever the fuck it's called. The Fame palette is essentially what it's called from House Labs, because that and the Tartelette Toasted palette, which somebody sent to me, a friend sent that to me, I bought the Lady Gaga palette. Those are really my only two like true neutral palettes, and so when I want to gravitate toward a neutral look, I kind of like pick up Tartelette Toasted if I want something warmer, I pick up Lady Gaga's palette if I want something a little bit cooler, and Lady Gaga's palette does have kind of an interesting purple, an interesting kind of metallic red in there, so it's a little bit more than just a neutral palette, but those are the two palettes that I gravitate to, but I use the House Labs palette for both of these looks that I'm going to be showing on the screen. They're both just soft brown looks. One of them is kind of diffused into the crease a little bit more, kind of like almost like a winged shadow liner. But I like these looks a lot, even if they're kind of boring. But, you know, when I think about a bridal look, that's kind of what I think of, kind of a soft, neutral brown situation. And that's not a kind of look that I do a lot. And I just think if I'm going to be sitting down and really, like, going there with a makeup look, then getting out neutral colors is just not something I'm usually interested in doing. But, you know, every once in a while the situation calls for it. And sometimes when I do neutral looks, it's nice because I can kind of, like, prove to myself that I could do a neutral look. Like, I feel like so many of my looks are, like, you know, it'll be like bright purple or pink or grungy green or whatever. And so it is nice to just sit down with a neutral palette every once in a while, so I can come back and say, yeah, okay, like I can actually do sort of like a more of a minimal, more of a, I don't know, soft, kind of lovely neutral look every once in a while. So these looks kind of prove that to me. Number 5 is an unusual makeup technique, and I have two answers for this one. I'm going to show two different looks for this one. They're both a little bit extreme, well, kinda. One of them, I did a black negative hooded eye wing liner look. So instead of having, you know, a thick black liner, I actually did black eyeshadow all around the perimeter of my eye, and then I left the negative space in the middle as the wing. It's like a flesh wing, if you will. That sounds really gross when I say that out loud, but you know, the wing is bare. It's just the shadow around it, so it's like an inverted negative wing, and I thought that was a really cool look. So for that look, I actually had to take sort of technique into account very carefully, because I had to pull the eyeshadow off the end of the eyeshadow stick with like a Real Techniques brow brush I used, and then I had to shape sort of the outside of the wing, and having hooded eyes, I had to do a very thick negative wing. So it was actually, I mean, it's not perfect, but it was pretty difficult to do. But the end result, I really, really liked it. I thought it was very interesting, pretty avant-garde. I think I might have put Lounge from Urban Decay maybe a tiny bit in my inner corner. I can't remember if I did that or if I photographed that or not, but that was just kind of an interesting technique that I had never tried before. And then my second answer for this look, when I first got the ABH and Alyssa Edwards palette, I found it at like a Marshall's for like $25, so that was amazing. But I ended up doing kind of like a cut crease look, which for hooded eyes, a cut crease isn't really that easy or that, like, I don't know, interesting to do, because your lids they're gone when your eyes are open. So when you cut it, you have to be like looking around or closing your eyes or whatever, kind of to see that effect. So I kind of shaped it in a way where I put like purple in the middle, but shaped it in a way, I think, to where you could see it more when my eyes are open. And it was just a really colorful, kind of fun, purple, pink, yellow look. I used like a teal liner in my waterline. And I had never really done like a cut crease like that before, so that's probably the closest thing. Well, I guess I did do one with the Riviera palette. Whatever, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the Alyssa Edwards palette. So I did it that way, and it was just, you know, cut crease, a negative liner. Those are two things that I like don't, I think those are like the only times almost that I've done those. So those are a couple techniques I don't use often, but I thought they looked cool and I was happy that I did them. So even though earlier for question 4 I kind of bundled 4 and 6 together, I'm actually going to flip question 6 on its head a little bit because it asks for your bridal look. And even though my neutral looks I showed earlier, I definitely count as like bridal looks, I was thinking, I was driving earlier to go run some errands and I was thinking about this in the car and I was like, I'm a cisgender man, like I could do a groom's look, like I could turn it a little bit and do it that way. But truth be told, I like my groom look would just be like a super no makeup look, and I think I've got a couple pictures saved that I'll put on the screen. I can't remember what all I used in them, but they're just very basic. No makeup. I probably used foundation, concealer, powder, brows, maybe mascara, maybe a nude in the waterline, and maybe a lip balm or a slightly tinted lip balm for these. But for a groom look instead of a bridal look, because I am a dude, I thought it would be fun to kind of, you know, turn the question a little bit and show a groom look. And these are just a couple examples of what I would do for kind of a no makeup look for a wedding. Alright, number 7 is your favorite look of all time, and when I did the eyeshadow palette tag video, which I have on my channel, I think I gave 3 answers for this, and I don't want to rehash too much old territory, so I'll just pick one of them. And when it really comes down to it, I think my favorite look that I've ever done was the Hot Jalapeno Bite Size e.l.f. eyeshadow palette look. I'll put a picture on the screen. I just love sort of the attitude that comes from this picture. I love how blown out it is. I love how it makes me feel like grungy green Batman. Like, just the color story in that palette really kind of hits it out of the park, and everything is very cohesive. The funny thing is that's the only time I've ever used that palette. I think I had done a look earlier in the night I did that look, and then I was like drinking beer, and I think I was actually getting like kind of drunk, and I like washed my face. And I was like, well, I'm already here, like, maybe I should just try this green palette, like, I don't have anything better to do. And so I was, like, tipsy, I just pulled the green palette out because I didn't have anything else to do when I did that look, and I loved it. It's such a cool attitude, grungy, like green, forest green with the gold shimmer on the outside. It was very accidental. Like, if I tried to recreate that look, it would probably not look nearly as cool as it does in the photo, but if I had to choose one, that's probably my favorite look that I've ever done. It's just so cool to me in the photos. I love it. Alright, number 8 is the worst makeup look you've ever done, and again, this question kind of comes up in the eyeshadow palette tag video as well. I did show a picture in that video from, like, whenever I was first starting out with makeup, and I had gotten one of those big, like, 100 pan e.l.f. palettes, and I had this kind of bad liquid liner, and I tried to do this, like, navy wing, and it looked really bad. So I actually want to give a second answer for this, because again, I don't want to retread too much territory, and I was thinking about earlier, probably like 3 months ago or so, I did a look that I really liked that was kind of like blue and purple and pink, and I used like a cream shadow and a bunch of different powder shadows. It was kind of, you know, looked like a painting on my eyes. I really, really loved it. And so I wanted to recreate that look, but I wanted to do like a red, orange, yellow version of it. And for whatever reason, when I tried that look, it was a disaster. And I took a couple photos of it, but I never posted it anywhere. I never put it on Instagram. I remember I had the Juvia's Place palette. I can't remember which one it is, but the one that has the bright red in it. And I remember, like, that red is so good, but for whatever reason, it was just not working for me the night that I did it. Maybe the primer I used was bad, maybe I was using the wrong brush. But I remember, like, just trying to kind of pack that in, like, on my inner corner and on my lid. And there was so much fallout that was coming down onto my nose, which was fine because I actually wanted it to look messy. And, you know, I was kind of going for a little bit of an unfinished, you know, kind of a grungy slept-in look, kind of artistic or whatever. But it was just like the eyeshadow was just not sticking on the inside of my eye, and I kept trying to pack it on, and like my eyes weren't even watering. Like, I don't know what happened, but it's just so weird how in makeup, it's always something that fascinates me. It's like you can have a product and you can use it 10 days in a row, and it will be slightly different all 10 days. Like, you know, your body chemistry, your skincare, you know, how sweaty you are, what the climate is. Like, it's just, there's so many weird factors that go into how the thing will apply. And for whatever reason on that day, that red eyeshadow just did not work. And I actually kind of like thought maybe the first time I used it and it was great, it was kind of a fluke. So I swore it off for a while, but I ended up using the red eyeshadow again later on. I just used it like a month ago, and it works like perfection. So I don't know what happened that night, but that look was a disaster. I'll have a picture up. But yikes, it just did not turn out even close to the way I wanted it to, because I wanted it to mirror sort of the blue-purple look I was doing, but in like a reddy orange way, and it looked so bad. So yeah, that's one of my least favorite looks I've ever done. Number 9 is the most expensive face of makeup you've ever done. And truth be told, I don't have that much expensive makeup. I buy mostly drugstore makeup. Most of the high-end stuff that I have, I've either gotten at TJ Maxx, or I bought on sale, or I used a gift card. I think the only high-end palette that I have paid full price for without a gift card or without some kind of point system or without finding it at TJ Maxx was the Urban Decay Wired palette, which I don't regret buying, but I remember marching into Sephora and buying it like a day or two after it came out because I wanted to compare it to the electric palette so bad, and I think it was like $45 or $55, and that's, you know, I know that's not even that expensive because you have like Pat McGrath and Natasha Denona that are like $200+ or whatever for their palettes, and that was the most expensive, like really expensive palette I ever bought. However, I have a Bobbi Brown 3-pan palette that somebody sent me, a friend sent it to me, so I did not pay for this. I don't know if this is cheating, but I didn't pay for it. But I think, if I remember correctly, those 3 pans and the component that you buy to put the pans like into the component, because it has like a flip top, I'm pretty sure that was like $100 and something. And it's literally, I mean, the eyeshadows are big, but it's literally just 3 eyeshadows. And I didn't pick them out for myself. Like I said, a friend sent them to me. So it's like a deep brown, kind of a champagne-y color, and I can't even remember the third color, but it's all like browns and like champagnes. However, I've done a couple looks with it. I'll put one on the screen now, which I kind of think is kind of like my vampy, like Bond girl look. I was actually watching Skyfall, and the scene where Bond meets Severine in the casino, I was kind of trying to emulate her eyeshadow look and her lip color because she looks so flawless in that scene. She's so beautiful. Bernice Marlowe, I think is her name. And so I did this kind of vampy, like brown strong wing with the champagne in the middle and kind of a deep lip, and I have no idea if I used foundation. I can't remember, but that's kind of irrelevant right now because like I said, I'm kind of focusing this video on like eyeshadow. But though that little 3-pan Bobbi Brown palette that was like $100 and something, if I remember exactly how much it is, I'll put it on the screen, but I'm counting that as my most expensive look. And I also think it's freaking outrageous because like who does, I know Bobbi Brown's not part of Bobbi Brown anymore, but like who does Bobbi Brown think she is, charging that much money for 3 eyeshadows and a little component that they fit in? It's absurd, but whatever, that's the most expensive look I've done. And then, as you might guess, the last question here is what is the cheapest or like the most affordable look you've done? And I, like, again, like I'm saying, I'm kind of focusing this on eyeshadow, and my cheapest eyeshadow palettes that I own are my e.l.f. bite-size palettes. So technically, my favorite look, the green one, could also be the cheapest look I've done, even though I did have like a ColourPop lipstick on in that look, so whatever. But I just picked out the Rosewater one. I think I have Berry Bad, Rosewater, Hot Jalapeno. I have one of the mint palettes, but those are $1 more. And I have the Acai, the purple palette. So technically any of the looks that I did with those would count as like the cheapest eye look I've done because I think those palettes are like $3. But I just pulled the Rosewater one because I think that grayish color in there is really interesting to put that on the screen. I don't think this look is really that amazing, but you know, it's something, and it's one of the cheapest looks I've ever done. So that's the one, kind of ending on a bit of a, I don't know, anticlimactic note. Sorry about that. Hey y'all, editing me here. It would not be a video without editing me popping in. So I finished editing this entire video and then I realized that I completely left out a question. I thought about setting up all my filming stuff again, but I've already taken all my lights down, so I figured I would just hop in and do the last question right here. I am such an idiot. So the last question is a makeup look inspired by someone else. And I don't actually do a lot of these, but there is one specific one that comes to mind. Sam Chapman, aka one of the Pixie Woo sisters, did a makeup look, and I'll put it on the screen, several years ago. I think this was like 2017 or something, where she did 3 ways to wear black eyeshadow, and she did a few black eyeshadow looks. I thought one of them was very cool. On the picture on the screen, it's not very high quality, but it has two of the looks, and I think the one on the left is the one I did, where it's got kind of like a winged liner and there's like some negative space in the middle. So that's the look that I copied, and I'll put my picture up on the screen now. So I kind of did a variation on that where I did kind of black up in the corner and I did kind of a shadow wing, and I thought it was very, very cool. It is hard to do a wing with hooded eyes, especially kind of a thin wing like that, so I kind of did what I could. But yeah, that was a Sam Chapman look from Pixie Woo. I copied it. It's rare, super, super rare that I will sit down and watch a makeup video and copy it like step by step. But for that one, I actually did. And I really liked the look. Also, the photo that I took is really sharp. It makes my eye look super, super blue. I thought it was a really good picture. So, whoops, sorry for leaving that question out of this one. Thank you, editing me, for stopping in. And now let's get back to past me. But yeah, that's it. That's the Makeup Lookbook Tag. Thank you again to Melissa Gold for doing this, and thank you to Kat for putting me onto it. I say that like we're friends. I mean, I'd love to be friends with her, but she's in Australia, I'm here. She has no idea who I am. But thank you to both of those ladies. I thought this was a really interesting video, and it's perfect for me because I photograph all my looks. And it was just cool, the idea of being able to like pick out all the different looks for the questions and then having them on the screen. This video is probably more photos on the screen than it is like the video of me talking, which is probably for the better because I'm not wearing makeup. My hair looks like trash right now. I feel very tired. But yeah, thank you to Melissa and Kat. I really enjoyed doing this video, digging through the looks I've done, trying to find ones to match with other criteria and everything. I thought it was a really fun idea. And hopefully this video won't be like a million years long, probably like 20 minutes, I hope, but we'll see. But thanks again. If you want to do this video, I will have all of the questions linked, or not linked, I'll have all the questions listed below in the description box. I will also link both Kat and Melissa's videos on these because I encourage you to watch them. They're very interesting. They both have very cool makeup aesthetics, and they're both just seem like very cool women, so really like them. Thanks for starting this tag. I was very happy to do it, and that's it for me. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.